Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing well today. It's one day left till Friday. Yay. And then it's the weekend. Yay. Hope everybody's good. Thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it so much. Miss Janice, Miss Millie, Cheryl. Hey, James. We got Brown Eye Girl. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. We got anybody else in here chatting? Blue Eyes, what are you doing here, girl? She's sick, y'all. Y'all say a prayer for her and her mama. They're both sick. We got Miss Kathy and Miss Barb. Hello. Thank y'all for being here. Let's see. Hey, TJ. How you doing? Good deal. Hi, Jacqueline. Hello, hello. Welcome. And yes, James, Smiley tried. She is a broken woman right now, and her heart is just going to take a little time. But we'll support her. We'll wait for her as long as she needs. We'll always be here. So, yes. Hello to all those in the bushes and those way back in the back. Yes, yes, yes. So thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it. I have had a pretty decent day today. Allergies under control, pretty decent like, and had to go to town today. So I went to town, got all my business done there. And on the way home, I have to pass through this big, huge construction site. They are bypassing a little town, and they're working on that overpass and everything, so you have to veer two lanes real tight off to the side and go around it. Well, they have these huge cones, and they're like huge, and they stand up really tall, probably come up to about real high on my waist, and they're all lined up on both sides. Well, the wind gusted up today, and as I was driving, I had a little bit in front of me was an 18-wheeler. I had another one on the side of me, and one was right behind me, right up pretty close to me at the back, in a concrete wall. One of those got caught by the gust and slammed in front of me. All I could do was run over it. And let me tell you, that thing jostled my car so bad that my back is still hurting. And I couldn't go that way. I couldn't slam on my brakes, and I couldn't go fast. All I could do, I started to move over as far as I could. There was nowhere to go. So I get out. I'm looking at my car. The front bumper's got a crack in it. It's all scratched up to heck, man. It's scratched up bad. And went back and everything. The back bumper's off, back corner part. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I get home and I make a couple of calls. Finally got the right person to help me. She says, well, you're going to have to call hang on. I need to look at this because I forget what it's called. You're going to have to call Occupational Safety Division, and it's in Austin. I said, okay. And she goes, well, we don't have a phone number. I said, well, how am I supposed to get in touch with them? You can write them a formal letter. I was like, excuse me? So I was like so frustrated. They will get a formal letter. Let me tell you, they'd be wishing they didn't have those on the side of the road. I could not believe it. I mean, this is a major construction area. There was nothing I could do to avoid it, or I would have gratefully. But yeah, oh, I was like so mad. Anyways, of course, when I start getting the thoughts of, pretty soon I think it's time to trade in my car, get me something smaller. Yes, I asked James, do y'all have like a legal department I could speak with? And she says, yes, but it's in Austin. I was like, oh, okay. And I remember a friend of mine, there was a construction site she was in, and they were tearing up the asphalt and stuff. Well, there was one place where it had just this big lump part of asphalt. They tore up those patches, but they didn't patch them when they let cars drive through. And my daughter's car hit two huge potholes and it tore her tire up. And they did her the same way. And then when she got her formal letter off and all that stuff, they sent her a formal letter back saying that, they don't replace tires. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's probably what I'll have to do. It just is like, okay, that is your equipment, your things that are there that damaged my car. But anyways, so it's not horrible. It's drivable. So that's a good thing. But I was just aggravated to heck today. I was like, man. But anyways, we're not going to be on here too long tonight, guys. I have two of my nephews come in town. One he lives south of Houston. The other one lives down in Corpus. And so they're both at my daughter's house, and they've been texting me. So I promised them I'd head that way here in a little while. Yes, I did take pictures. And in my letter, I'm going to make prints of those pictures and send them. So anyways, here we go. I think tonight what we're going to do, we've talked about, both of the parents have spoke out. We've all heard it. To go over the mom and dad speaking, there's so many red flags. We get to this point to where we're pretty much all there right now, that it's almost obvious, this has happened. Something has happened, but that child did not run away. There would be footprints. There would be scent. There's nothing. He didn't run away. He was taken out of the house. That's almost a given. And that's from the police investigation. Now, hey, Nana, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us. But there's so much, that we go through and we talk about, and it always comes back to the same, we got the father who's trying his very best. He feels alone because the mother of his child won't even speak to him. And then you go from there, you've got the mother and the stepfather who they've got red flags everywhere. Nothing makes sense. None of what they do or say or explain to you has any backing to it. So I thought tonight what we could do. Hey, R. Taylor, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate y'all so much. Yes, Rhonda. Rhonda and her family. Yes. Y'all say a prayer for them. You, Nana, behave. Nana's over there stirring the pot. I love it, Nana. I started the pot over here on my own channel. I don't even have to leave my channel. They come in here to me. Oh, TJ got kicked out of Granny's. I tell you, I don't understand those channels. It is so, and I say this so obvious, not because I have a complete whole devotion to Seth. Like I've said before, if somebody gave me something, some proof that he's got red flags, he's not on the up and up, something concerning Sebastian, then I would look into him. Oh, our Taylor, thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you, thank you. Hi, Amanda. But it is so very obvious the parents are not telling the truth. Did they do something to Sebastian? We can never say that. Not now. We would have to wait for the police, law enforcement themselves, to come out and say they did do something. Do we have that feeling? Yes. Because Sebastian didn't leave home with his feet. So I don't get how those channels can't see that. The mother telling her stories, and it changes every time she talked. There's more added in there. You don't add to the truth. You tell the truth. So I'm just going to keep speaking what it is. We're going to keep talking about what the parents say. Seth, Katie, and even the stepfather. Those three. Out of the three, for sure, one of them, and almost certain the second one, has the key. They know all the answers to our questions. They know where he is. Y'all make sure to tell our Taylor thank you. That was so sweet. Super sweet. I love having members. But I thought if you need marriage counseling, Lolly can tell you where to go. Right? Yeah. We should check that out, shouldn't we? Let me see if I can find that on here. Hang on, guys. Let me see. We got something might be interesting here. Little comedy hour here. See if I can get to it. Let me see. I think I might find it. Well, okay. Anyways, I can't get it to pull up. Sorry, guys. I'll work on that. Yes, he will back her for anything. Yes, Christopher Proudfoot had a thing on his Facebook. He can help you with any marriage problems you have, I'm sure. Maybe he should have listened to his own advice like maybe four other times. I don't know. That's wrong to say. That was wrong. But I thought tonight we could listen to Vinny Palatino and see what his thoughts are. Now, guys, I'm going back 6 months. Okay, we're almost to the 8-month mark, but I'm going to go back 6 months and let's see how what we know today, where we're at today compared to 6 months ago. So anyways, no, it wasn't. It's the truth. What? Okay, Miss Kathy said it's okay. All right, I'm going to get this started. And see what we can do here. See if this will work. Oh, it's an act of Congress to get this thing going. Okay. Can everybody see it? Let me unmute it. Here we go. And TJ, I'll look at that you sent.
It's the middle of the night, February 26th in Hendersonville, Tennessee. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers should be safe, asleep in his bed in his home. But now everyone is wondering, was he home? Was he safe? Sebastian's mom, Katie Proudfoot, says she went to wake up Sebastian for school, but when she went to get him up, he wasn't there. She looked in the house. He wasn't there. He was gone, vanished. After she called 911, the law enforcement search was on. It was wide, it was extensive, but yet again, no sign of Sebastian. Katie believes he left the home barefoot with his glasses, but where would he go? Why would he leave? And how could no one find him? Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, shares custody and has been out searching for his son. Meanwhile, Katie says her husband had to go back to work out of town, and Katie left her home to be with him. Tonight, we have an update from law enforcement. We'll take a look at the latest, break down the timeline, and take a look at the search as we investigate the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers.
I'm Vinny Palatino. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And where is Sebastian Rogers? Where is he? This case, it's as if he just disappeared and vanished. But that doesn't happen. That can't happen. That's impossible. It doesn't work that way.
Drama or whatever.
Either something happened to him and someone did something, or he left the house, or someone broke into the house and took him, a 15-year-old. But something had to happen here. Yet a month into this, it seems like the public, the family, everyone's kind of clueless as to what happened here. How does a 15-year-old just vanish like that? Who's at home with his mom?
Wow. 8 months later, we're still, or 6 months later, we're still asking that same exact question. Isn't that something?
How does that happen? It doesn't make sense to me that there wouldn't be some level of some obvious clue, whether it's something happening in the house or something happening before they came back to the house, or evidence that he left, whether he ran away or was going to meet someone, or if there was some text message or something on his phone, but like none of that. None of those obvious things that we see in so many cases. As we saw in the Madeline Soto case, became very obvious very quickly. Like this one, no. It's the same day Madeline Soto went missing. But you look at what people are saying, and I'm listening, and it's like, okay, he's gone, but that doesn't just happen. People don't just vanish. Now, what we're hearing from law enforcement is that all the parents are cooperating. You know, his mother and father aren't married anymore. His mother is remarried, so he has a stepfather, and law enforcement is reporting that everyone's cooperating. No one's like lawyering up. No one's shutting down. So to whatever that means, to that extent, there's no seeming pushback at all, that there's a level of cooperation, which is huge, which is important, because every investigation begins with those who are closest to the victim, the one who's missing here. And you've got to understand and investigate them and get information from them. That information is most crucial in all of this. So mom and stepdad cooperating. However, stepdad's got to go back to work, so he left the area, and mom has now left the house as well to be with him, working out of town because of the...
Left the house. It's confusing to everybody that the mother is going to leave the house very shortly after.
This is the type of work he does. Meanwhile, his father is searching, going out there and literally looking for his son. And it's been a month. That's a long time. This disappearance began the same day as Madeline Soto. And you think about the two cases where we are in one versus the other. And the longer it takes, the more worried you get that they're not going to be able to figure this out, not going to be able to find him. I mean, could he have like tiptoed out and is hiding somewhere or running away from something or exploring or doing something? You don't just vanish. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. There has to be something that can lead to what happened here. So today we got an update from investigators. And you listen to the information, and whenever you have one of these updates, and they do it because there's pressure on investigators. They know how big the story is, how big the case is. They know how desperate family members are and the community, and people want to help, and people are looking for information. And there's also the factor of, by speaking, you put it back into the news cycle, and Sebastian's face will be, once again, will be in places all over the internet, on television, and other places. So I want you to take a look and a listen to this, and there's a little bit of new information in there, but there are some important things that were said today. It wasn't the longest press conference, but it was significant. Let's take a listen.
Sebastian has been missing since late February. The investigation remains ongoing with steadfast support from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and many other local and federal resources. We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home.
The parents have been cooperative throughout at the beginning of the investigation. They have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. We don't want this to damage the investigation. So we would just caution anyone who is following the case to just use some caution as to what you see and what you believe.
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian's?
We are still investigating.
Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian. Let me put it to you like this. If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian.
Okay, a couple of things from that. First, social media. Social media is important to keep the story in the news, keep Sebastian's face in the news. There's a downside. There's a yin and a yang to everything. There are some on social media and who may report things that are not factual for whatever reason that they're doing it. But the bottom line, you keep his face in the news. That's important when someone is missing and they have no idea what happened. You heard him. We have no idea. We don't know what happened to him. We haven't seen anything criminal that would lead us that way. I get that, but he vanished?
Vanished. That's because he's a ninja. Chris said he always wanted to be a ninja. And he did it because poof, he's gone.
He didn't take his phone, he just ran away? It doesn't make sense. It's not sitting well with me tonight. Just vanishing. It doesn't work that way. Now, we also heard that they found some glasses in the last couple of days, and they're still investigating it. That, too, I'm not clear on that. How long would it take to figure out if they're his glasses? We have pictures with different glasses. We have parents. What glasses are at home, right? Because he's gone. Does he have more than one pair? Where are they? What do they look like? Okay, that's great news tonight for us, though. Joining us from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. I'm going to put this out there, and it's just something to think about. If Sebastian was in bed, if medicine was given that would cause him to be sleepy, and he was carried out, that means the glasses would have had to been picked up. Surely he didn't sleep with his glasses on. They picked up the glasses, but they forgot the shoes.
Tennessee, reporter with Scripps News Nashville. Nick Barris is with us, covering the story unlike anyone else and unlike any other station or organization on this one. Nick, great to see you again tonight. How would you describe where this investigation is? I see this as a mystery. It's baffling to me. Is this a criminal investigation? Is this a missing persons investigation? How is this? Is there an ongoing search?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Vinny, I agree with you and your take on this. My take is they say that there is no sign of any foul play at this point, but they are not ruling it out. And I couldn't agree with you more that a child does not wander off on their own and simply vanish without any trace unless someone else is involved. That's my take. But they say
here we have people that have seen these type of things over and over and over and over again. And their opinion is our opinion. Children do not vanish. They do not just disappear. And whoever assisted in him not being at home did make mistakes. And the shoes were probably never thought of until Seth walked in the door and saw the shoes. That's my opinion.
say at this point, parents, everything they've done with them have been vetted, and that they're not considered suspects at this point, and they've cooperated, no one else. But they also were very pointed today. There have been some reports saying, oh, well, the parents have been cleared. No, wrong. No one, according to Eric Craddock, who is the chief deputy with the sheriff's department who's leading this investigation, has been cleared. No one.
Okay, here we are 8 months later, almost 8 months in. This was done 6 months ago. And still no one has been cleared. No matter what Chris Proudfoot wants to say, no one has been cleared.
No one has been cleared. They consider all options. And I would say right now it continues to be somewhat of a search, but they're waiting for more tips to come in. And frankly, just like you and I think authorities are frustrated and befuddled.
So, and that's a great distinction, right? Cooperating versus does not equal cleared. Cooperating does not equal cleared. So that's because they don't know what happened. How could you clear people if you don't know what happened? It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense, right? So describe for us the house he was living in, the neighborhood he was living in, the geography, the topography, the population, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. This is I'd say an upscale neighborhood, very nice homes. He lived in a nice home, a neighborhood residential like anyone else. A typical residential neighborhood, nothing out in the country off alone. Neighbors all within close proximity, some common greenways in between. What's interesting about this neighborhood, as upscale and nice as it is, there are absolutely no street lights. Okay, or sidewalks. And so at night, that neighborhood is pitch dark. And so one of the questions many people had was, why didn't any of these homes, many of which have security cameras, Ring cameras, why did none of them seem to pick up any video of anything that night? Almost anything. And I will say I was one reporter. I'm the only reporter so far to have aired what was some video from a nearby home capturing what appears to be lights, possibly flashlights, in the proximity of the home the night he disappeared. Now, law enforcement, not long after I aired that, one, contacted me asking me where I got it, and I cannot reveal my source. And second, said that at this point, there's no evidentiary value to that video. Well, today in my interview, and by the way, you showed some of the press conference or news conference, I had a chance to sit down one-on-one for a good period of time just with Eric Craddock, he and I. And he said at this point, no evidentiary value to that video I had that shows that you see here what appears to be some lights, possibly flashlights outside the home. But he says that's the way it stands right now. And depending on what develops, that video and those lights could become more important to the case, depending on what they learn moving forward. So,
in just my personal opinion, I feel like those two lights are the whole entire explanation of what happened to Sebastian, how he left the house.
And by the way, in terms of what information they've shared, I couldn't agree with you more. They did say that they found some glasses in the area, wondering if they are Sebastian's. that shouldn't take any time at all to figure out. And they didn't say if they had. That should be able to be determined almost instantaneously. And I'm not sure why they haven't, or why they haven't revealed that information yet.
Because the community's searching. They want to help, right? They want to help. Everybody's looking for him. From the interviews, his dad is worried to death. So let's get back to that light for just a moment, though, because the way you described the neighborhood, pitch black, so you're seeing some light at night. And this is what? This is like 3 a.m?
Yeah, it's right around 3 a.m. It's within the scope of the time they believe Sebastian left the home, which would have been, they think, midnight to 6 a.m. the next morning when he was discovered missing. So yeah, it's dark. And again, I don't want to oversell it. It's been analyzed apparently by the TBI and law enforcement. At this point, they say it's no evidentiary value, but as far as I know, it's the only video of any kind that shows what appears to be some lights in the back. Who knows? Maybe there's some kind of reflection. But if you watch what I have there, you see lights, 2 subjects moving, and it appears to be something. But again, at this point, and the parents have talked to law enforcement as well, they say, we don't believe that this is a key piece of evidence in the case. But today, Eric Craddock said that's the way it stands now. But they don't know what they don't know. And with time, that could become significant, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's pretty significant considering there's nothing else out there. Like, light just doesn't appear. It has to be
Nothing
something.
else. Yeah.
It has to be something. Like, people don't just vanish and lights just don't appear out of nowhere. Do we know if he had a flashlight that night?
Right. Yeah, the word from his mother when she went to look for him, what they discovered missing, the way I understand it, is a flashlight, and that he left without his shoes, barefoot, which again is something that's very kind of confounding because, you know, his own father.
Okay, guys. His mother's words. He left, and all I can find missing is a tiny little baby keychain flashlight. Is that not convenient? Because who the heck is searching for a little baby tiny keychain flashlight? You should be looking at phones and laptops and, you know, gaming stuff, coats, blankets, pillows, something. But because there's 2 flashlights coming from the back of their house, she mentions a tiny baby flashlight.
Said as a child, Sebastian walked barefoot into a fire ant hill pile, and they just ate him up. And he never forgot that experience. And from that day on, as a child who suffers from autism, that stuck with him, and he would not go outside without his shoes and socks. So you're telling me in the middle of the night, he grabs a flashlight, walks out of his home barefoot? It just doesn't make sense. Possibly he went out quickly to check on something with the idea of coming back in, but obviously he never did. So that's something kind of perplexing about how all that played out. And did he take a flashlight, and why? What was he looking for? Where did he go? But dogs going outside just the general area of the home where you would expect Vinny to find his scent because he lived there. Anything off the property where he would have walked, dogs didn't find anything. They supposedly maybe tracked to a nearby pond, which they then not only had divers go into, but then drained and found nothing. It's, again, as though he vanished into thin air.
Nick Barris, I'm sure we're going to be speaking again about this. I really appreciate your time today. And I know you're like working overtime like you do every day, tracking these stories. Sure. Great to speak with you. Scripps News Nashville, Nick Barris. Check it out, folks. His stuff is online as well if you're around the country. It's great work. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you, Vinny.
Let's talk more about this search. Joining us from the Gulf Shore of Alabama, a press and communications officer for the United Cajun Navy, Kevin LaFond, is with us. And the reason we asked you to be on is...
Okay, guys. United Cajun Navy. They came in. They were going to help search. They wanted to be there. Keep in mind during this interview that they left because They were getting threats. If they continued searching, bad things could happen to them. Keep that in mind and listen to how much dedication they have in finding people.
As you guys were involved at some point in the search here, give us a little bit of the backstory, Kevin, on how the United Cajun Navy in Alabama ends up in Tennessee searching for Sebastian.
Well, it all started with Riley Strain. I appreciate having me on today. Riley Strain's search, as you know, ended it the way it did with us discovering where he was as a group, all of us searchers together. We don't claim any fame to that, but we were part of it. There was an outcry on social media and to us directly from the parents to get involved with the search here. And that's what we did with the search for Sebastian. We got ourselves organized, and we were together. We had everything there anyway. So we said, you know what, we're here, so let's do this.
So you said the parents. Is that both the father and the mother and the stepfather? Like all three contacted you?
It was primarily Seth. Seth asked us to come.
Okay, so the biological father. Okay. Now, I also understand that you had to call off your search efforts because of some threats. Can you tell us some of the details there? What's the nature of these threats? Is this people who don't want you on their property because it's private property? Is this people who don't want you to find something? What exactly is that all about?
Well, there was a private property and also state and federal land issue at the beginning that we had to get permission for to be on those lands. But we did get permission. We got the okay to do that. So that was never an issue. We had some bad actors that were showing up in person and also harassing online and through phone calls. We were getting all kinds of messages saying that we're going to be doxxed, we're going to be run out of town, we're going to be bullied, and then the death threats came. And that's when we got real serious about having to reformat how we're going about this and think about the safety of the volunteers. It really was to that point. So now we have to shift gears and move into more of a private phase where we're not forward facing.
Did y'all hear that? From the United Cajun Navy, his own mouth. It got to the point where they started receiving death threats. Who in their right mind would send out death threats when there is people looking for a child that's missing? But if you go back and you think on when we were talking about 12 inches deep, federal land seems to be a target area. Although they got permission to be in that area, they got cleared. Death threats, guys. Not just we're going to rough you up. Death threats.
Let me ask you this. The people who are threatening you, stopping a search for a missing child, did you provide that information to law enforcement? Because I would think if someone's trying to stop you from finding this child, maybe that's someone law enforcement should be looking at.
And I would say that you're drawing a reasonable conclusion there for sure. And yes, the authorities were notified. We have incident reports with the MNPD. They're the ones that came out to the original call when our folks were basically barricaded inside of a hotel room.
Wow. Barricaded inside of a hotel room because you're in town searching for a missing teenager?
Yeah, and that's very strange. It's never happened to us before. And certainly with what you're reporting earlier about there being so much cooperation, this being so difficult really didn't add up.
Isn't that something? Doesn't add up. Never happened to them before. All of these things are only happening in Sebastian's case. Sebastian, whose stepfather said on day 7, this will be a case that will be studied for years to come. The stepfather who said he will never be found. The stepfather who told Dog the bounty hunter he will never be found. You will not find him. You might as well go home. Why does the stepfather not want Sebastian found?
That is, I've never heard it. Like, you obviously haven't come across this. You guys roll into town. You're not getting paid, are you? You're rolling into town trying to help.
We're volunteers. We do this all around the country. When the families reach out and ask for help, try to do as much as we can where we can. In this case, we were close by, so it made sense to go ahead and get involved and start helping. But it brought some bad folks out of the woodwork, and we're not quite sure why that is.
And let's hope law enforcement follows up on that and figures that out, because, I mean, the obvious conclusion, again, if you're trying to stop people from searching for a missing teenager, you're afraid, oh, maybe they may find him. So was there a particular place where you were searching at the time all this started to happen? And if so, is that a place that you were unable to search?
Our searches were hampered, is the probably polite way to put it. We didn't get to do nearly as much as we wanted to, but it really didn't matter where we were. It seemed that this trouble followed us.
That is extremely unfortunate, especially given the nature of what's at stake here, a missing child. There he is, Sebastian Rogers. Kevin LaFon from the United Cajun Navy. Appreciate your time tonight, and on behalf of families, we all appreciate volunteers coming together to help families in need, people that are so desperate that are missing loved ones. So I hope this doesn't deter you, and I don't think it will, from continuing the work that you guys do.
Not at all. If I could say anything, I'd say everybody be hopeful. Volunteers are rallying together, us and others, and it doesn't matter who's front and center. We're going to get this done.
All right. Thanks so much, Kevin. Appreciate it. When we come back, folks, we're going to continue our investigation into this story. Going to bring in some experts and take a listen to what Mom has said and what Dad has said, because they've spoken out. They've spoken on television. They've spoken on podcasts. We take a listen and try to figure out what it means and what the story could be here. Plus, coming up next hour.
In Boise, Idaho, Chad Daybell on trial facing the death penalty for the murders of his wife, Tammy, and his new wife's children, JJ and Tylee. Tonight, we speak with juror 18.
His wife, Lori Vallow Daybell, has already been convicted.
Now, will her husband end up with the same fate?
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
Following Sebastian.
15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen alive on Sunday, February 25th. His mother, Katie Proudfoot, shared the details of what she and Sebastian.
Hold on. I'm going to go backwards just a little bit. We missed something right there. Dadgum, this. My mouse is like not wanting to work with me today. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. Let's see. Just a little bit. Okay. All right, here we go.
The house was searched at least 10 times.
Dogs?
Dogs. Yep. None of them, to my understanding, were actually on a trail that was following Sebastian.
15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen alive on Sunday, February 25th. His mother, Katie Proudfoot, shared the details of what she and Sebastian did the day before he was reported missing in an interview with the Chronicles of Olivia YouTube channel.
We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call, and
that part right there has floored me since the day I saw it. Why does she have to look at him to make sure it was her niece that she went to pick up? Because all I see right there is her making sure she's getting the story right. the script.
Asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that. We went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn. Came home, put groceries away because we bought snacks because, you know, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley. And then from there, we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway. About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. And he's come out of his room where he was playing. And he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And about midnight I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock.
Wait a minute. Katie, are you sure he didn't say yes, ma'am? Or were you like studying your book because you had homework to do? Or not? Because in this interview we're hearing, none of those things happened. Makes you wonder, though, which is the right story? Which one is the correct story? Is any of them correct? Because I don't think we've heard the same story twice.
I wanted to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he wasn't here.
So that's a description of what happened. I mean, it was a full day the day before. And then in the morning, he's not there. Just vanished without a trace. Let's bring in our guests. Joining us from Los Angeles, California, clinical and forensic neuropsychologist and author of the book, The New Rules of Attachment, Dr. Judy Ho is with us. Joining us from Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen. Also with us in Los Angeles, California, retired FBI special agent. He's also a lawyer, and he's a screenwriter, and he's a friend of ours, Bobby Chacon. Dr. Judy Ho, let me begin with you. He's been described as being a child with autism, somewhere on the spectrum. Parents described him as bright. Some of the issues were more socially connected. So knowing that, does any of this make sense that a child like that would get up or maybe not even go to sleep, middle of the night, pitch dark outside? That's the way the neighborhood is. There's no streetlights. Pitch dark, grab a flashlight, leave the shoes and the phone and everything at home and go somewhere.
Well, Vinny, the autism spectrum is a very wide one. So we have some individuals who have a higher level of special needs, whereas other ones are very, very high functioning. And so we don't know as much about exactly where his functioning was at the time of this missing incident, and also if there were any other co-occurring issues, any other mental health concerns that they maybe had, other social concerns that were plaguing this child at that time, maybe any additional stressors. It doesn't sound right for any child, whether they're on the spectrum or not, to be walking away barefoot with a flashlight and just disappear without a trace. And so there's a lot to unpack here. There must have been some lead up. I hope that we can hear more about what he was like in the days leading up to his disappearance.
Jason Jensen, something that I picked up on here. Apparently they have dogs. Dogs in the house. If he's getting up, and there you see, we have one like this at home, tiny. You're up in the middle of the night, he's up. He's also got snakes. But how about the fact that there's dogs? You got to open that front door. Mom doesn't hear anything. Maybe she's a sound sleeper. Maybe she's got a CPAP machine. I don't know. But what are the questions that you have tonight about what may have happened here with him wandering off for some reason?
Well, then, there's a lot here, really. But concerning the dogs, I have dogs, and if I walk out of the house, they typically don't react in the middle of the night. Now, maybe if I come back in, I want to investigate who came back into the home. But other than that, I mean, given the fact that Sebastian is a 15-year-old with functioning ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, it is common for elopement behavior to occur. So, when mom addressed him the way she did in the middle of the night, was it upsetting? Did he run out of the house? I'd like to know more about that, and if he's had a history of running away before.
Now, Bobby Chacon, something else we learned today, and I was a little confused by it during the press conference. They're getting help from the FBI in this. They also said Secret Service. Is there any reason why the Secret Service would be involved in this investigation? That kind of struck me as a little bit unusual. And then I also like your thoughts about the search here.
Well, the Secret Service does a lot of things online, like online crimes. They do a lot of, the FBI does as well, but the Secret Service does, and we partner with them sometimes on these online crimes. Now, I can say I have a close relative with Asperger's, and as a teenager, because she had this disorder where it was very awkward for her socially, she found it much easier to be online and develop relationships with people online, or not relationships, but connections with people online. So, I mean, it could be that the Secret Service is brought in to look at his online activity, to see if somebody was either attempting to groom him or then set up a meeting with him, or, convinced him that, they wanted to talk to him or see him apart from his parents or whatever. So it could be a situation like that. They're looking into whether he had, I don't know, if he had access to the internet, if he had his own accounts on social media or things like that. So that's something possible. I don't know this. This is conjecture on my part, but it could be something that you could enlist the Secret Service to look at his online activity. Somebody could have lured him out of that house with online communications.
That makes sense to me now. That makes some sense to me. Okay, on a YouTube live stream this week, Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, told the host of the Pascal show that he saw video evidence that his son was alive on Sunday, February 25th. Let's take a listen.
I had requested video proof that my son was alive after I spoke to him on Thursday.
What footage was that?
They showed me footage of him leaving Texas Roadhouse and getting into his mama's vehicle with her.
Texas Roadhouse. So he was getting in a vehicle with Katie Proudfoot from eating at Texas Roadhouse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Jason Jensen. They're out to eat. Seems like there's cousins there as well. It would seem to be extremely important to hear from all of those folks if they saw or noticed anything, or if he had a conversation with one of his cousins about something that maybe he wanted to do that night. I mean, to me, this is like the last true proof of life that we have of Sebastian.
Exactly, Vinny. You would want to basically recreate his entire day and put the pieces together of all the conversations that he had, whether there was, some problems at home, whether he had a love interest that nobody was familiar with. Oftentimes cousins say things amongst each other that they won't say to their parents.
Dr. Judy, I want to ask you about the parents' behavior here as well. It's been a month. It's been a while. Now, his stepfather apparently had to go back to work. He operates big machinery, goes on the road, lives out of an RV to do it, and is out of town. But mom also left the house that her son disappeared from and is with her husband. Your thoughts about that? And we all, I know, react to things differently, cope differently. What are your thoughts about mom leaving that house and spending her time now, not from where Sebastian disappeared, but out of town with Sebastian's stepfather?
Well, Vinny, I think that a lot of people are saying, how could you do that when you should be combing your neighborhood, figuring out where your son is? How could you just leave and get out of town? Of course, Katie's explanation with that is that she was starting to get death threats. She was having people start casing the home, commenting on, what they believe is her negative behavior, and that she was trying to get a little bit of peace and a little bit of safety. So of course that could be an explanation, but I think that there's so many people who are saying, but if I was the parent, I would just be going to all of the places that I know my son loves to go to, look at all the places where he had friends, where he liked to spend his time, what kind of hobbies was he engaging in the neighborhood. I want to find out as much as possible, just trying to do almost my own work ahead of what the police can do. And I think that's something else that was concerning, is that apparently the biological father said that there was a CPS call made on Katie a little bit earlier. Very unclear about more details or a timeline.
Whoa. There was a CPS call on Katie very early on. We've heard about Seth. We've heard plenty about CP. But Katie?
Timeline and whether there was any follow-up, but apparently biological father found out about the CPS call from a podcast and not from Katie herself or from CPS. And so there are some questions there about, are there some other concerns about this child's welfare and safety that was missed at an earlier time?
Absolutely. They have shared custody. I mean, dad should know if there's something going on. Wow. Okay, everyone stay where you are. When we come back, we're going to talk about a land.
Look at all the places where he had friends, where he liked to spend his time, what kind of hobbies was he engaging in the neighborhood. I want to find out as much as possible, just trying to do almost my own work ahead of what the police can do. And I think that's something else that was concerning, is that apparently the biological father said that there was a CPS call made on Katie a little bit earlier. Very unclear about more details or a timeline and whether there was any follow-up, but apparently biological father found out about the CPS call from a podcast and not from Katie herself or from CPS. And so there are some questions there about, are there some other concerns about this child's welfare and safety that was missed at an earlier time?
Absolutely. They have shared custody. I mean, dad should know if there's something going on. Wow. Okay, everyone stay where you are. When we come back, we're going to talk about a landfill search. They searched the landfill. Now, there's no evidence of any crime, and they're searching a landfill. Is this normal? Bobby Chacon's going to answer that question when we come back.
It's safe to say crews have searched just about everywhere for the autistic teen within a 5-mile radius of the home, and have found nothing. But one thing they did not search is the garbage, and that is why Sumner County deputies and Kentucky State Police spent the day searching a landfill in White Plains, Kentucky. Why there? Well, News Channel 5 has learned that trash in the Stafford Court neighborhood is picked up every Monday between 5 and 6 a.m., and it was sent to that landfill. So all the trash from the neighborhood dumpsters, including the trash bin at Sebastian's home, was picked up and gone before the teen was even reported missing. Officers are digging through trash and the landfill looking for any clues. They don't know what they'll find, but say the search is part of leaving no stone unturned. There's the possibility some evidence was disposed of in the trash.
Remember, he took the trash out. Mom told us that was one of his responsibilities, to take the trash out. It was garbage.
Okay, guys, think of this. In the very beginning, we heard that the guy picking up the trash can to empty it into the back of the trash truck reported that it was super heavy. Way heavy. Nothing had ever been that heavy that he's picked up before. So if Sebastian was the one to take the trash out to the road, and that trash can was that heavy, I wonder, could he have possibly rolled it out there being so heavy? Or would an adult have had to been the one? Because the video footage they have is a person in black sweats, a black hoodie. The hood was pulled up and you could not see the face.
Garbage day, that Monday. Take a look here. This is from Scripps News Nashville. The search of the Kentucky landfill yields no evidence. Investigators with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office searched the landfill in Kentucky where trash from missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers' neighborhood went. Officials stated no leads or evidence pertaining to Sebastian's whereabouts were found during that search. Let's bring back in our guests. We have with us Dr. Judy Ho, Jason.
I wonder if they found security cameras in that trash. Security cameras from inside the house, possibly.
Jensen and Bobby Chacon, retired FBI special agent. Bobby, what's your take on the search of the landfill?
Well, I've been involved in a number of landfills, and the FBI landfill searches, and the FBI, we used to do them quite routinely. I think it's exactly what your reporter said. It's, that effort of no stone unturned. You have to look everywhere that's possible, or else, you'll be called into question on how thorough you did your job. If say 6, 8, 10 weeks down, something of value was found there by somebody else, the first question would be, why didn't law enforcement search that landfill? They knew where his garbage went and the trash from his neighborhood. So I think that's what it is. It's a thoroughness thing. When I ran the dive team, I was involved in a number of searches of ponds and lakes in neighborhoods where children went missing, where there was absolutely no indication that the child was in the water, but we searched those bodies of water to be thorough and to make sure that the child didn't fall in there or didn't end up in there some other way. But you do this, you do these searches on places even when you have no indication, because everybody else is covering leads, and if you have the resources to do it, you need to do it. And I think that's what this was.
Katie Proudfoot and her husband, as I mentioned, left their home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, since the search for Sebastian began. In an interview posted on Twitter, Nancy Grace questioned the mother about her choice to leave the house where she last saw her son.
Did you leave the home also, Ms. Proudfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To accompany my husband going back to work, and then I'm coming back.
Okay, when will you be back? Do you know yet?
No, not yet.
Are you concerned about being away while the search is ongoing?
Absolutely, I am.
Then why are you going?
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
Oh, wait a minute. We just listened to last night where she said she was leaving because of the threats had gotten so bad, and everybody's stalking them and driving around, and her neighbors are getting tired of it, and she thought she would give them a reprieve. What story's the truth, Katie?
Okay, Jason Jensen, your reaction.
Yeah, well, it just really seemed like, I hate to judge the reaction. It doesn't seem very supportive of looking for her son in the context. It's like it sounds more like she's driven to be near her husband than stay at home, where her son, who, if he did run away, may return at any moment. So I understand where Nancy Grace was going with the line of questioning. It sounds like she's trying to say you should be home. That's where a mother should be, and that's kind of Nancy's personality.
Well, yeah, I've been interviewed by Nancy and I worked together at Court TV when I was a correspondent at the courthouse. She would, ask me lots of questions. It's not an easy spot for anyone, but let alone someone in that position where your child is missing. Dr. Judy Ho, what was interesting there, though, she didn't mention in that answer necessarily the fear of, the threats and everything. And I think that's real in the world. I mean, the United Cajun Navy, was pulling back because of threats. So I could see it happening to her the way there's been a spotlight on her as well. Did you see anything in that interview of note?
Well, first of all, I agree with you, Vinny. I definitely think that the threat is probably real, and we can definitely see how that can happen, especially in this day and age, and all of that internet sleuthing that so many people are doing, rolling up their sleeves and trying to play detective and taking it into their own hands. But again, it's so hard to judge someone's reaction. I know that everyone deals with grief and loss and stress so differently. but she definitely seemed a little subdued to me. That is concerning. I don't know if she's subdued because she feels traumatized and scared and, she doesn't.
Katie, traumatized, scared. Is she afraid that she doesn't read the script correctly? What happened to Sebastian might happen to her?
Doesn't know how to answer Nancy's questions. She is a tough interviewer. Or if that type of emotional disconnection and distancing is something else that's more indicative of their relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about her relationship with her son. The priority of wanting to be with your husband in that moment, you can understand that. Maybe you want emotional support, but at the same time, husband is hours away.
Yeah.
Child's unlikely to be that far away. So what kind of search is she actually doing and accomplishing while she is there with her husband?
Bobby Chacon, I only have 5 seconds, so I just need a number from you, unfortunately. 0 to 10, how confident are you that they will be able to locate Sebastian, 10 being absolutely?
Well, 8, but that doesn't mean alive or not alive. So unfortunately.
Right. Okay. We're out of time for tonight, but obviously we're going to stay on this story. Dr. Judy Ho, Jason Jensen, Bobby Chacon, appreciate your valuable time and insight tonight.
All right. Okay, so that was very insightful. Once again, we heard new versions of the things that have happened. Now, I got this just a little bit ago. I'm going to read it to you. Here, I can turn my camera on so y'all can see it. Let me show it to you here. I don't know if you can see. It's so hard to see. There we go. Okay, I'm going to read it. It says, it's a Facebook post, and it's Melissa Nicole Proudfoot Swinson. I was with him Sunday afternoon shopping. I took my sister, her daughter, plus my sister-in-law and Sebastian shopping that afternoon. So I can tell you he was in a good mood. They were headed home to put away groceries when I last saw him on Sunday. Here is an anonymous post that is on Facebook. And it says, I probably have the missing piece to the puzzle. On the 26th, around 5:45 in the morning, there was a SUV parked on the side of the road right past the country store on New Hope Road. I cannot 100% swear on the Bible, but the SUV looks like CP's mother's SUV, but if it was her vehicle, then the time added up to when Sebastian's mother was about to drive to the school and look for him. I can almost bet my life that she met her up there and gave him to her. I done some asking around and found the landowner information, and they just happened to have trail cameras, a few of them right in the area. So in the morning, I'm getting the cards and going to see if I am right. A few people already knows, and Sumner County will know if what is on the camera is what I believe. It is CP's mother and stepfather are some evil people, and I believe with everything I love, it's going to turn out to be what I believe it is. There's 6 other people have seen the vehicle that morning parked up past the store and school, and I believe we are about to blow it wide open. Now, that was a while back, but that is a person who saw it. Now, I'm going to show you. Oh, no, that was the same one. Okay. So those were interesting. And I want to look at something else here. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to look at an email I got. Hang on. Okay. Now, this is Main Street Media of Tennessee. That's what it says. Preferred source. Sumner County property transfers September the 3rd through the 9th. November 29th, 2020. Maddie and Terry Bowersox to Christopher Proudfoot, 449 Remington Avenue, Gallatin, $285,000. So I guess mommy bought him a house. Wasn't that something? Quit. Now we're going to open this. Let's open it. I could do it on my phone. I can't do it on here. Okay. Well, I'm going to work on that. And then we will hopefully see that maybe tomorrow. Okay, guys. This silly computer I got, I ended up buying a Chromebook. I don't know how to work a Chromebook. And you can't hardly open anything on it. It's crazy. Anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed watching that because, like I said, guys, that was 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Not a lot has changed. Threats to people are still happening. We still have the mother telling stories that every time we listen to her, there's something different. We have the stepfather that is not helping anything. He's, believes Sebastian turned into a ninja and poof, he was gone, disappeared. We have a real father that's still looking. He's out there. He's getting angry. He's getting frustrated. He wants his son home. He still tears up when he talks about his son. So I hope and pray that law enforcement, the FBI, is looking into all these things that are red flags that we continue to find. Because every time a creator comes on and talks about Sebastian and about what's happening and shows everything that's actually being said and done, there's red flags everywhere. Anytime you listen to one of the hate channels, you might catch the Sling Blade character coming on a phone call talking to y'all about Sebastian, when it's clear as day it's Chris Proudfoot, a man from Texas that knows every bit of the Tennessee law. But he's lived in Texas his whole life. I don't know. Silver's on the scene said Chris was actually not at work, not working that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But Chris tells us he was at work So where was Chris really? Where was he really at? What really happened after Katie and Chris got home from Texas Roadhouse? After they left that parking lot, what happened? Because a child doesn't just get up out of his bed and walk away. Not for no reason. It's cold outside. You got a warm bed to sleep in. You got a snack cabinet to go get some snacks. He's not going to just get up out of his bed and walk away for no reason whatsoever. Something happened when they left Texas Roadhouse. But the stories we hear, they keep growing. It keeps getting larger and larger and more things added, some things taken away. It's just all adapting to what everybody has to say about the last time they spoke. I just think, guys, we're not hearing the truth. And until we hear the truth, until law enforcement hears that truth, Sebastian will stay missing. It will become a story. Quit. Get down. Sorry, my dogs. One day I'm going to have my own place, guys. I'm going to have a place to put my laptop and everything and not be on the bed with the dogs. Anyways, we're going to find him. We're not going to stop until we do. And I promise y'all, we're going to continue to talk about him. So y'all be strong, stay good, have a great night. Tomorrow is Friday, and we'll do it again tomorrow. So everybody, y'all have a good one. I love y'all so much. Thank you for your support. Welcome to all the new members. I can't say enough. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here. And with that, I'm going to say love and hugs, everybody. Mwah. Bye.